Alaikum. Ramadan sees millions of Muslims gathering annually in Mecca al-Mukarramah seeking Laylatul Qadr, forgiveness and du'as to their Rabb to address their greatest concerns and priorities. Odd nights, and specifically the 27th night, with the completion of the Quran at the pinnacle, 2.5 million Muslims. Mecca al-Mukarramah comes to a standstill by night, believers lining up every space available anywhere within around the Haram. And subhanAllah, it is an unprecedented spectacle. By Allah, I can personally testify that every other person that was within my proximity, either making tawaf, pleading or clinging at the Multazam, praying against the walls of the Kaaba, or in the streets of Makkah al-Mukarramah, if their conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was audible, you heard one word: Falestine. Doesn't matter if you understood their language or not, we all understand and know the pain of Falestine. That is, unless you're Sudais. 21st night came and went, as did the 23rd night. Falestine wasn't to be heard. Even the shopkeepers were now discussing how Falestine was being omitted from the dua. The word Falestine only surfaced on the 25th night, even then sandwiched between a single general supplication for all of the oppressed, oh yeah, including Palestine. It then surfaces in a similar fashion on the 27th and 29th night. It was clear it wasn't Sudais' priority. In fact, earlier he had called for silence on the Palestinian genocide, insisting it was a fitna and Muslims shouldn't engage or question their rulers' political decisions. What, their inaction, complicity, or their normalization of ties with Zionists, which are of course to come for Saudi? So they actually threatened security forces that are on the lookout to arrest anyone who raises the Palestinian flag or any Palestinian political slogans. There is no slogan in the two holy mosques, he warned. You have come for worship, not to raise political slogans and chants. In brief, Sudais' message was clear: if you're coming to Mecca or Medina, leave Palestine behind. The same Sudais who in New York 2017 claimed Donald Trump, the US, and Saudi MBS were steering the world to peace. He has widely become known as the normalizer, as he leads the so-called scholars set the task of justifying normalization with the Zionists by distorting the Quran and Sunnah. He is officially an MBS confidant and an appointee, and he outlined his priorities loud and clear. Whether it was an odd or an even night, he repeatedly stood before the honorable Kaaba, including on Laylatul Qadr, leading millions in prayer, supplicating for, number one, MBS and his Vision 2030. What, a secular, nationalistic, anti-Islamic program of vanity, arrogance and kufr? From shamelessness, nudity and raving in Riyadh, to the billions being squandered on sports washing, entertainers, football stadiums, vanity projects, to legalizing alcohol, normalizing with Zionists. This is the so-called vision he is making dua for. Dua for MBS and its autocratic, secular, racist, tyrannical regime and its stability, even though MBS creates bloodshed, instability for its neighboring lands, whether it's Yemen, Sudan, Palestine, Qatar, or the likes. And to top it all up, Sudais adds, "Oh Allah, reward him what he offers to his religion, his country, and Muslims with a penetrating vision." Absolutely shocking beyond belief. It is clear the politics of Palestine is banned. Dua for Palestine is downgraded, generalized, and demoted to the very back. But the secular, corrupt, anti-Islamic politics and chants of MBS's government agenda are priorities and are all welcome in the Haram. Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu once asked Ziyad bin Hudayr, "Do you know what will demolish Islam?" Ziyad said no. Umar ibn al-Khattab said, "Islam will be demolished by the faults of the scholars and the judgment of misguided leaders." It seems many of today's so-called Sheikhs have become for the Muslim world what the Western clergy of priests represents in the West. Robes, ceremonies, titles, formalities, rituals only. Rather than any substance of the law, they are supposed to represent. Just as the clergy and priests rubber stamp all the secular laws, all corruption and exploitation of the political class, many of today's Sheikhs use the Quran and Sunnah to justify normalization with the Zionists, silence in the face of genocide, secular corruption and plundering under vision mottos, and shamelessness and violation of the Sharia as modernity. They have become nothing but empty, hollow reciters of a Quran which was sent down to bring change, guidance and to be implemented. Whilst they can recite in high-pitched tones, they are mute when it comes to its injunctions. What is the value of a so-called Medina or Al-Azhar University Islamic Sharia degree or PhD or memorization of the Quran or being an Imam of this institute or that institute if you can't simply speak the truth, stand for justice, and now even make dua for the oppressed of Palestine? Whilst I truly advocate and wholeheartedly believe it is high time we as a community and ummah must focus on the positives and what unites us as opposed to what divides us, nevertheless we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to call out fake sheikhs and those that are backed and sponsored by Western governments or Muslim governments who must be exposed. As Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu said, they are the ones who will try to demolish Islam through their insincerity and political compromises using distorted interpretation of text. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَتَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. And do not mix the truth with falsehood or conceal the truth whilst you know it. And this is exactly what these fake sheikhs do, and its dangers are grave if not exposed.